Smartly Uneducated is hands down the greatest podcast in the world. But be warned, this one is not for the faint of heart. With topics ranging from true crime to conspiracy theories, this podcast doesn't shy away from violence or controversial content. Their slogan,
"Oh, we're going to Pluto to see alien titties,"
or
and suck on it till you get some raw milk,
isn't just a catchy tagline. It's the truth. These hosts have a world of knowledge that expands across the cosmos. If you are looking for a podcast that will make you laugh, make you think, and make you reevaluate your life choices, tune into Smartly Uneducated and join the uneducated madness.
Welcome to Smartly Uneducated. I am Ben.
Yeah, and I'm Evan. Hello,
Yes.
hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode. Thank you for joining us as always. Today we have an interesting topic. We're going to talk about the human brain and things that have been mapped out and what that means for the future and what that means through technology and things of that nature. I know I say things of that nature all the time. That's because I run out of things to say.
Yeah, but we're also, just to give the proper topic name, this is actually called the Human Brain Project. It's a real thing, so you can look it up. You literally just Google, DuckDuckGo, whatever browser you use, the Human Brain Project.
Yeah.
And then it will come up with a treasure trove. There's going to be so much different information. A good chunk of the information that you will find is through, like, DARPA, things like that. But before we jump in, we have a little thing, our normal bullshit we do.
We got a good show on our hands today as well.
But PSA, if you want to jump right into the content and you don't want to listen to us bullshit for like 5-10 minutes, just scoot up forward like 10 minutes and we'll be in the subject.
Probably more like 15-20.
10 minutes. Gotcha, bitches. 10 minutes. Anyways, back to you.
So there are a few news articles that I like to say and do a little grab bag that I find interesting throughout the week and throughout the coming mornings that we coming mornings that I find interesting that I want to share with everybody. Such as the one that I found last night before I went to bed, is that North Korea, they sent balloons full of trash over the border to South Korea. 260 plus balloons full of trash.
I shouldn't laugh at that because that's one, fucked up, and then now it's just how many of those balloons got lost and blown away in the wrong place? Now it's in the fucking ocean and shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's small potatoes compared to what the oil companies do, but I like oily fish more though.
They did it. God, fish oil. They did it in retaliation to South Korea sending over anti-North Korea propaganda pamphlets in balloons to North Korea.
Speaking of that, you know what? It really makes me happy that happened is when the movie with James. I know everyone has a thing with James Franco now because of the Me Too shit, but yeah, he got canceled. Yeah, because he is. Yeah. Anyways, but the interview, the movie itself was a funny fucking movie, and it was totally ripping on North Korea, and it was banned in North Korea.
Yes,
this is back in 2012 or 2013, whenever it came out. They parachuted. They literally dropped the movies on DVD and shit into North Korea. Oh, it was a whole thing.
That's
dude.
awesome.
They literally did that. Now, I don't think it was James Franco and Seth Rogen and them who did it, but it was, I'm assuming, South Korea did it. They literally airdropped a whole bunch of copies via balloon and little bitty parachutes.
Same, but different.
Same, but different. Yeah. Anyways, let's do your little thing so we can get into that. I really want to talk about this.
South Korea sent a bunch of balloons. South Korea sent a bunch of balloons of anti-communism pamphlets over to North Korea. North Korea retaliated by sending trash, saying, "You litter our country, we litter your country." And South Korea sent radioactive hazmat teams to the trash piles. And they're like, "It's just shit. It's just manure." But in other notes, another interesting little news article is that Panama is preparing to evacuate their first island because of rising sea levels.
Whoa.
So Panama has this disgusting, this horrible city that is just an island full of houses, absolutely jam-packed buildings where people live. And it's becoming to get flooded every day, and people are just wading in water all the time. So they're preparing to evacuate the very first island. I believe this will be the first island in humanity that has been flooded and people are having to leave. On another note, another article that I can't stop watching and reading is that a startup company claims that they have created an AI head transplant system so that you can remove your head and then have your head put onto a different body. Because the human brain can live about 800 years, but the body can only live about 100.
Yeah.
So they have found out how to completely remove your head and put you on another body. So if your body gets destroyed in a car accident and you have enough money, you can, and this will happen, they said in 10 years.
No shit.
In 10 years' time, you can completely change your body.
Really?
Yes. So
Wow.
the thought is that you can take your head and put it on a child's body, and then you can live another 100 years, and you can keep doing that over and over and over and over and over again for 1,000 years and live
Yeah.
forever. That's
Yeah.
like they have created immortality almost.
How do I get on that train?
I mean, if you have enough money, your insurance could be able to cover it too, probably.
I want to. Can I share some propaganda that happened with China?
Sure, but the video of the
sorry,
head
go ahead.
transplant is bizarre.
Oh, we're talking about the human head transplant?
Yes, there's a video of it.
Wait, I thought they didn't go through with it.
It's an AI generated video. It's like a CGI video,
Oh,
but like
my bad.
it
Brain
happening
fart.
is awesome. Like,
Dang.
I sent you the link. It's scientists announce its wild plan,
Oh, let me pull it up.
and the video is
Oh.
very, very cool.
Yeah, well, we're not going to actually play the video because I don't want to get. Oh, I guess this isn't through YouTube. So
No, yeah, it's a minute long. So it's an actual website from the it's from New York Post.
there it is. Look at that. Look at it go. Whoa, dude, that's wild. It's doing its thing. Whoa, look at these little lasers.
And look at the hands going, and they attach the spine together and all the nerves and everything. Yeah.
Wow. So they're well, this is just an extension of the work done by those litany of doctors that got together to do the first human head transplant.
Yep.
And their candidate dropped out and everything because he ended up getting laid. That's literally the heart of it. This guy who had a very disfigured body, and he did not have a functional body. He was the one who was up. He was this Russian guy. I believe he was Russian, and he was going to be the first one to get the human head transplant, but he got laid and ended up getting a girl pregnant. Which, it's funny when you see his wife. Just Google the guy who backed out of the human head transplant. One, he's like, he makes Stephen Hawking look like he can walk. So that's just to put some context into it.
What a statement.
Dude, it's a good reference. It's a good example.
It is.
But when you Google who the girl is, bro went and totally paid bought a wife. There's no way any chick was like, wow, I'm so attracted to that, and I love you. Like you see him, you see her. She's like on the just generically speaking, she's literally like someone who would be a supermodel.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, she's a mail order bride, dude. Like 100%, and she's Asian. Go figure, mail order bride, Asian. Yeah, got her pregnant and stuff. So either the dude's got money. I'm assuming he's got money. Oh, that's what the heart of this is, dude. The mail order bride. So just so people know how mail order bride stuff works, when someone goes and purchases a bride, technically, the bride, the girl who's the one getting purchased, depending on who you go through and where it's from, what country, the bride can choose if she wants to accept that purchase or not, right? And that's a real thing. They can actually choose. You saw it? You looked it up? Yeah, mail order bride, my man. But the thing is that they technically have a say in it if they want to do the transaction, like, and be the mail order bride. So, with that being said, this bitch totally said yes because I guarantee there was money, a lot of money involved.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting concept. I'd never heard of this before. The guy's name is Valery Spiridonov.
Mm-hmm.
He was born in 1957, and he was married to some other individual.
I thought we talked about the human transplant before.
I don't think we have. No. He then married.
He's got them little legs, bro.
He married. So there's a movie called FDR American Badass, and it's FDR in a wheelchair, and he's a crime fighter. And there's a scene where
There's a movie about this?
yes, it's badass.
I want to watch it. What is it called?
FDR American Badass.
That's literally what it's called?
Yeah.
Is it like a B-rated movie?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, even better.
There's a scene where
Low production value?
no, it's fairly
Oh,
high.
I'm saying like low compared to like going to the theaters and seeing like a AAA title.
Absolutely.
Okay. Oh, I'm so in.
There's a scene where he's like, I want to kick your ass, but I got my little legs. And then they cut to his little legs kicking. It's brilliant.
Oh, dude. I love it.
But this guy married this beautiful ice dancer. Her name is Elena Garahandaba or whatever it is.
Ice dancer,
And-
mail order bride,
Yeah,
bro.
she is a gorgeous woman. She's very pretty in her own right. And this gentleman, he's a handsome guy to begin with.
What
but
the fuck are you talking about? No, he's not.
Yeah, he is. He's a handsome dude.
Oh, let me pull
but
it up
his-
for the viewers to see.
But his
No.
physique is of that of a smushed man. He looks smushed. He looks like he got put underneath a piano. His name is Valery Spirinadov. Good luck spelling that.
Sorry, I'm getting used to my new keyboard.
Yeah, I mean, he's not like the ugliest dude in the world.
I'm sorry. Let me.
You're just laughing at Timmy.
Let me show you guys.
This just in: Ben hates crippled people.
Let me show you. Feast your eyes upon this. Never been so attracted to a man in my life. He's a handsome man in his own right.
I mean, look at his head. He's got a
Yeah, he doesn't have a Stephen Hawking face.
No, he
okay,
doesn't.
Yeah. Okay, but Stephen Hawking's got him when it comes to the Olympics, bro.
I mean, his unit
tell you
unit still works, which is amazing. He got this woman pregnant, and they had a kid.
I'm gonna show a picture of the. Yeah, that's her right here. Yeah, dude. Mail order motherfucking bride. That's what that is. I don't care if they say she was a dancer. It doesn't matter. You can have dual hobbies here, bro. She's a mail order bride on the side because she lives in she's from a communist country. So, you know, it's not like she has choices. You know, they probably thought it was good for propaganda and PR to lot her up with. Look at him! Look at his little, look at his little dress shirt. Okay, I gotta stop. I apologize, everyone. Oh my god, I'm having too much fun.
Ben, you gotta
I had the
stop
camera on
burping
you,
camera,
caught you,
dude.
motherfucker.
You gotta stop
Anyways,
burping on audio recording. That was a
one
big
last
one
thing
too,
I want to
man.
read. It's a bit of propaganda from China. So China had some propaganda against Taiwan. So China has been intensifying its disinformation efforts targeting Taiwan. This new strategy involves using platforms like YouTube for consent hosting and Reddit for consent distribution. So basically, they got people running YouTube accounts and Reddit threads.
I don't know how you burped
to-
in my mouth. That was amazing.
Dude,
You were like a
'cause
ventriloquist.
we made out.
You're a ventriloquist. That was incredible.
with my tongue.
I mean,
Hey.
like I said last episode, Reddit is a psyop. So
Yeah.
it's just through and through. It's
But-
owned by China to begin with.
So ensuring resilience, longevity for avoiding a single point of failure. These campaigns are designed to promote pro-unification sentiments and undermine Taiwanese resistance to Chinese influence. Resist the Chinamen. Resist them. Anyways, moving on. Let's get So back to you, my man. Sorry about that. I couldn't help myself.
You
my
got
man.
you got a little distracted there by the paraplegic fella.
I did.
But anyway, let's move on to the actual topic of the show, shall we?
Yes, the human brain.
So the Human
Project.
Brain Project, in a nutshell, is how they wanted to map the brain. So they wanted to do MRIs, PETs. They're trying their best to completely figure out how the brain works and where everything is being sent and how, well, in layman's terms, how they can manipulate the brain.
Yes, and you know the Human Brain Project, or also known as the HBP. Just so people are aware of it, these are the people who did this are the same group, DARPA, DARPA is the forefront behind all of this.
Well, not necessarily the project. The project itself was not
yeah.
was not fronted by DARPA.
No, but DARPA was heavily involved in it.
Well, DARPA called it something else. DARPA called it the Incubed, the Next Generation Non-Surgical Neurotechnology Project.
Brain Initiative.
Correct.
Yep.
So it's called Incubed, into the third power.
Yeah.
But the Human Brain Project was funded by schools and things of that nature to begin to formulate a mapping of the brain that they can then manipulate in their own right.
Mm-hmm. And the reason why I even brought this up was because, or brought up DARPA, is because the Human Brain Project itself, how they were able, this project alone, how it's not just DARPA, because DARPA has their own thing, which is the Brain Initiative, but at the same time, DARPA had a hand in the Human Brain Project because it's still ongoing.
Mm-hmm. No, they shut it off. They don't do it anymore.
Oh, they say that
they stopped the research because it quote unquote failed, but they have completely mapped the brain and they
didn't fail because the Brain Initiative proved that it didn't.
Correct.
So like I said, tomato. DARPA is involved in this to an extent. And then DARPA's heavily involved in their own thing, because they always touch on a bunch of stuff. But the reason I bring that up is because DARPA is the same people that created a nano-type chip and put it inside of a moth. Literally embedded it into the moth while it was still in its larva stage, like in its little cocoon, and integrated it into it. So when it hatched, they literally can control the moth. They can fly it around a room like a remote, like a drone.
They also created it to where they can manipulate your memories as well. They put it into a serum and manipulate your memories so you can have feeling of your limbs that you've lost, and they can change your dreams and change
that's
things
why,
you're thinking.
That whole concept too, that little side thing with the whole memory part, because I came across a deal about that back when we did the original Brain Initiative that we did.
That got banned from the internet.
Got banned from the internet.
Which, by the way, YouTube doesn't really like us very much. So if you all can share this, because we've probably been shadow banned from the internet. That's why we're not being seen very frequently.
Yeah, it's really weird how our stuff gets traction. So we get traction one moment, and then all of a sudden it gets completely taken away.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you are seeing this, please go ahead and share it, like it, send it out to everybody you know, because we typically don't get seen because we talk about things that they don't want us to talk about.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of threats from YouTube, like cancel our account numerous times. And it's weird because now we're on strike. I think we're on strike 3.
Yeah, we are.
If we fuck up again, or if we get another, like anything that would be a strike, we are
gone.
Like the account's destroyed. Yeah. Like we're gone, and it's a bunch of bullshit because we're not doing slander against a group of people. We're not doing anything that's misinformation. We're literally reading actual documents that are real documents, and for some reason, they don't like it very much.
You did make fun of that paraplegic guy.
That's because I wanted to.
But anyway,
I couldn't help it.
DARPA is known for doing research that is a bit more controversial and a bit more future based. So they created GPS. They created a self-driving car in 1984. They've done a bunch of future based technologies. So anything that you see for yourself that is state of the art, you thank DARPA for that. So
state of the art, not the art.
What did I say?
Arc.
State of the art.
But no, I just wanted to say that about DARPA. Just they have a lot of things going on, a lot of capabilities. And like I said, we've said this on the podcast numerous times. If we're just now hearing about it, or we have the information on it, that means we are 20 years behind. Anywhere between 15 to 20 years. That's the rule of thumb. Mm-hmm. Maybe even longer, maybe shorter, just a little bit, like give or take. But that is the generic rule of thumb, because we've been finding out that, people say, oh, this technology doesn't exist when a whistleblower comes out or whatever. And then we find out 20 years later that technology did exist back then, and we are just now starting to see it in the public sphere. 22, sometimes 25 years later. So it's like, everyone needs to always remember that shit, especially with the everything. So anyways, I was about to get sidetracked. I'm going to stop. But yeah, do you want to jump into the Human Brain Project? So I'll read the introduction if you're cool with that.
Yeah. So we did a little bit of research and well, we usually do research and investigation on
We
this sort of topic.
We try. So the Human Brain Project is a very ambitious, large-scale scientific endeavor aimed at advancing our understanding of the human brain. It was initiated in 2013 and funded by the European Union. The project seeks to map the brain's structure and function in unprecedented detail. This project not only aspires to unravel the complexities of the human brain, but also aims to address neurological diseases, foster technological advances, and provide a comprehensive model of the brain's workings. So that's just the kind of like intro to what this is in the overview. Evan made a really good point to pull up some images of the brain, which we'll get to kind of show the mapping that they did and everything like that. Did you want to take over from here, or did you want to just go back and forth talking about
Well, we could sort of bounce around, but the Human Brain Project in general sparked about 4 different projects. One called the Connectome that I found absolutely fascinating, where they completely mapped the entire brain.
Do you want me to pull that picture
color
up so they can
coordinated?
see it?
Not just yet.
Okay.
We'll get to that in a little while. So as I mentioned before, the main goal of the project was to map the entire brain, figure out how it runs, where all the electrons go, where all the synapses fire, and why they do that. Right.
Yeah.
So they use different techniques. As I mentioned before, the MRI, which we all know, you sit in that big machine, and there's a huge magnet goes around your brain and maps it.
Mm-hmm.
Then they did an fMRI, which is a functional style, which is just a little bit different, doing the blood flow and allowing more map functionality.
Yeah.
Then there's one called the PET, which is a positron emission tomography.
These are what PET scans, right?
Correct. I didn't know what I didn't know what positron meant, so I had to kind of look that up.
Whoa. Yeah, sorry, I didn't know what a PET scan was until you talked about it. Like, so just so people know, when we do our research, we kind of like, we jump back and forth. So like he'll do his own, I do my own, and then we just like bring it all together when we do the podcast. So like in a weird way, we both are learning about weird odds and ends just along with you guys.
What we
while
find
we're talking about
fascinating
it.
together, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So a positron is the anti-particle of an electron.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the positive side of the electron, they take the negative side of it, which...
Did you read what an MRI, fMRI, and a PET are? Like what they actually are? What
no, I mean,
well, since you're talking, we should say what the MRI is, just in case people don't. Like, some people don't know what an MRI is. They hear the term. Same with fMRI, and then we're talking about PET, which is the positron emission tomography.
Yeah.
So it's like those scans. So we should probably say what they are. So the MRI is, just so people know, it's a very common term. Everyone's heard that, like, oh, I got an MRI done, things like that.
I got an MRI done that finds out my brain's thinking about money, baby.
Yeah. So it provides high resolution images of brain structure, helping identify different brain regions and their connectivity. So all the different quadrants of the brain and how they're all rooted into each other. The next one, which is the fMRI. So like you had said, it was the functional magnetic resonance imaging, measures brain activity by detecting changes in blood flow, allowing researchers to map functional areas involved in tasks. So like, let's say you're building something, playing with Legos, or let's say you're writing, or let's say you're making music, and they will map your brain while you're doing these different types of tasks. And then those are just examples. We're talking about any task.
Yeah,
it maps it while you're doing it.
To dumb it down, the MRI is simply just the brain.
Yeah.
If there's any damage to it, holes, you name it, right? And then the fMRI is simply just to see how it runs. So if the blood is flowing, if there's brain activity, that's what it's for, to see if something's actually firing in the brain.
So like if you hear about someone being in a vegetative state, like they're in a coma, like they had a head injury, and what they'll do is, instead of doing just an MRI, they'll do an fMRI to see if there's any brain activity happening. So when they give the statement that, oh no, this person is there's no activity, they're in a vegetative state, that means that they did an fMRI to find that out.
Yeah,
because they're seeing that there's no activity happening. So just to give it, just so people had a reference, right? The next is, so the PET, which you were just talking about, this just helps in, which I found this one fascinating, helps in visualizing metabolic processes and neurotransmitter activity, which I thought that was fucking cool. The fact that it helps visualize the metabolic process that's happening in the brain.
Yeah.
Dude, that's fucking awesome.
It really is a very cool science.
Mainly because the reason why I find that one fascinating is because there for a while, I used to have a lot of pushback from people because I used to say that when you see these nerds, geeks, people will give those terms to people who are really smart and they like either tinker with computers, whatever, and they're in these little think rooms. You notice that a lot of them are very skinny and they eat like trash, right? Like they eat sweets all the time. They don't work out, but they all have this really slender build and they don't have a lot of fat on them. And that's like generically, right? You see these nerds and geeks, you see these skinny dudes with glasses, whatever, the generic stereotype, right? The reason why they're able to eat all that shit, and this is what I was saying because I did some studying into the brain. So your brain, when you do heavy tasks with your brain, where it takes a lot of computing power, you're really thinking on something, trying to figure things out, it burns calories. And depending on the task and how much activity is happening in the brain, you can burn even more calories. So if someone for work, right, was let's say a programmer or a rocket scientist, whatever, something really intricate, and they work all the time, they work 12 hours a day, and that's what they're doing all the fucking time, 7 days a week, 6 days a week. They are actually, because the generic thing is that you'll hear people say like, oh yeah, your brain burns calories, but it's a very small amount. Yeah, because you're dumb and you're not using your brain very much. In all reality, you're like autopilot when it comes to most stuff because what you do for work doesn't require that much fucking horsepower. But these guys, it requires more horsepower, and they're going and all the pistons are fucking firing all the time. They burn way more fucking calories, which is why they can get away with eating like shit.
Well, yeah.
And it's not because genetically they just
what
have
does
a
this have to do
naturally
with
fast metabolism.
positrons?
Well, no, because it's because of the helps in visualizing metabolic process. This right here is what caused us to be able to know that.
But this is about the brain.
I know,
Okay.
but your brain burns calories.
Yes, it
That's
does.
what I'm getting at, is that they can visualize the metabolic process now.
So
I just wanted to make sure to say that because
To-
I thought it was fucking cool.
to simplify what a positron is, take a toy car that can go forward and backwards.
Mhm.
Normally, the car driving forward is like an electron, a positive force forward.
Mm-hmm.
It then also creates a negative charge. Now, imagine if you have a separate toy car that looks the same, but only goes backwards. That is what a positron is.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry, I fixed your cable for you. So you didn't
So I
like,
stopped
yank
hitting it?
down. Well, I didn't want to risk you getting caught on it on
yeah,
accident.
so you have one that goes forward and backwards, and then you have the same exact one that only goes backwards.
Mhm.
So that is how they're able to map the metabolic state, is by grabbing only the negative charges.
That's pretty fucking dope.
I think it's very fucking cool.
Mm. Now, just to add the other way that the other mapping techniques, the last one on there, which I just want to read it, but then I'll let you describe it or whatever. It is it's called the two-photon microscopy.
Okay, but I want to talk about the positron some more.
Oh, you still want to talk about it? Come on, we can't get hung up just on the positrons. Like, we're talking about the Human Brain Project here,
Okay, but
which I know it's a part of it, but we don't have to get
the
too crazy.
way that they map using the positron is a process called annihilation.
Mhm.
So they have the positron hit an electron and they come together and they explode and they
Hell
create
yeah.
a flash of light, which then creates a mapping, and it's called annihilation. So that is how they're able to figure out where things are on the concept.
That's pretty fucking dope. Pretty fucking
That's it.
dope. But yeah, the next one, the last one for using detailed mapping techniques is the two-photon microscopy. So it allows imaging of living tissue up to a depth of 1 millimeter, providing insights into neuronal activity at the cellular level. So basically, long story short, the two-photon microscopy, you're able to see what the living tissue is doing to a certain depth. So they're able to see the activity in the living tissue. So like your brain tissue, things like that. They're able to see what activity is happening on it. Not a crazy depth, but still, like, that's a pretty big depth because you're going to see a lot of different electrical activity going on. Hell, maybe even chemical activity. It just depends. I mean, I would love to see that live.
Yeah, so
To see it happen. You know?
It's a very specified location is what the two photon microscopy does. singles out specific spots. So you have a flashlight that shines a big area.
Not gonna lie, I thought you just said fleshlight, and I was like, you know what?
Not
I'm
the
here
foot,
for it.
not the foot.
Oh, dude, that foot pussy's real, dude. Anyway,
So they so imagine a flashlight that's just you shine it, it lights up the room, and then you have a really cool tiny little flashlight that is ultra powerful, and you can shine it on one specific location. Think an ant, but it can then go into the ant and see the cells of the ant. So that's what the 2-photon microscopy is in layman terms, right? It's a very tiny, 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 tiny flashlight that shines light on things.
Nice. So that pretty much covers the detailed mapping. So with the Human Brain Project, and this has, we're going to talk. This part is really just talking about like the data integration, like how they're doing this. So the Human Brain Project integrates data from various sources, creating a multi-scale brain atlas that includes a structural, functional, and molecular information. So this integration helps in understanding the interplay between different brain regions and their roles in cognition and behavior. So basically, they're able to see on a multi-scale between all these different scans that they do. They can literally see on different layers how everything is interacting and connecting and communicating with each other, which is also, I mean, it's beyond super useful because you can see where people have chemical imbalances. You can see where receptors are not functioning correctly. Like, for instance, like a nicotine user, we've talked about nicotine and what it does to the brain.
Absolutely.
They can see that electrical current and that deviation that it has because they use nicotine. That's why these doctors, when they do these types of scans, they ask you, hey, do you smoke cigarettes? Do you use any form of tobacco of any kind, something that you get nicotine from?
Or drugs in general, like alcohol. So your brain also craves these things. So whenever you go under an MRI or a PET, they ask you, do you partake in drugs and alcohol? And if you say no, then you're smoking weed on a regular basis, then you're going to go in there and they're like, your brain is fucked up because it's craving something. What are you
what are you doing, man? What are you doing?
So you got to be honest. Like, if you are a drug user, you say, I do cocaine sometimes. Like, okay, so your brain, and so your brain's fucked up right here. That's because you're a drug addict, or your brain is here because you like alcohol. Your brain is so on and so forth. So if you go into these procedures and you don't be utterly and utmost honest, then your brain scan's going to be a little altered.
Yeah, and then on top of that, they have the ability to reference. They have the ability to reference Sorry, Bob, my bad.
You good? Yeah.
So they have the ability. So like what you were just saying, that's why they ask you these things. Because it's going to change
the outcome, right?
The outcome, right? But the thing is that if you lie on it, more than likely they're going to know because they've been doing this enough in a long time, and they've had enough people in there that they knew or whatever, and they knew if they were using these things, that they have a reference. So if you're lying about what you intake, all these different things that would affect how your brain interacts and functions, they're gonna see red flags because they're gonna see these scans and all these different layers, and they're gonna go, okay, so if what you're saying is true, then there's something really wrong with your fucking brain, or what the fuck ever. You know what I mean? So yeah, they'll know.
Imagine being the doctor and the guy's like, "No, I'm stone cold sober," and you go into the brain, and it's just like, help me. It's like nightmare.
It's all mush. It's like, wow, you look really fucking depressed, man.
The doctor's like, you need help now.
You need help. But yeah, in fact, whenever I went and got some scans done on my brain,
turns out you're full percent retard, huh?
Yeah, because they did when I got tested for autism. Yeah, no, I'm being serious. They went and ADHD, all that stuff. When I went and got tested for that, for both in 2 different increments, right? It wasn't all at the same time. That's when I found out a bunch of stuff, how far into the spectrum I am, which explains a lot about me because me and my personal life. I know our listeners here get a filtered view because it's just, the podcast.
Oh, so, they can tell.
But yeah, and that's where I found out how far into the spectrum I was and all that fun stuff. And it was because they were using different scans of this nature to see these things. So it's really interesting. with that being said, moving on from the data integration. So basically, so this goes into like understanding like the brain function. So overall, this is like they're really just seeking to elucidate the mechanisms of brain function, focusing on how different brain regions interact to produce cognitive function. So that's another key thing. It's
Yeah, they want to learn.
How is it producing that function?
Yeah, they want to learn the language of the brain and how it
Mhm.
communicates to itself.
Yeah, and the functions like perception, memory, and decision making, and because they're studying how the neural circuits and networks, are aiming to decode to decode the brain's language of going between these different things. Like I just said, perception, memory, and decision making. Those are just examples, but they do it across a much larger scale. Many more
So
things.
understanding that, if you want to pull up the image of the connectome, so this opened up the project, the Human Connectome Project, which connects all the synapses and electrical currents in the brain and color codes them to what they mean. So the colors inside of the brain that you're seeing here on the screen now, if you are on YouTube, thank you for watching. But for those of us who are just listening, we are looking at a wire-based image. It looks like a bunch of wires or hair, sort of like fluorescent blue, purple, orange, yellow, green, the color spectrum.
Yeah.
Each one of these colors represent an electrical current.
Yeah, so this is here's a good one right here. I'm gonna pull up this one because this is obviously a scan that was done. Oh, god damn it. My bad. Where is it? There it is.
To the right. It's to the right. Yeah. Tiny.
So yeah, let me zoom that in real quick.
That's horrible.
Yeah, well, it's just for them to see. So this is like I know it's probably a little pixelated.
If
but
I may.
This is the
If I may.
one of the scans.
If
So,
I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the colors, they can indicate how connected different regions of the brain actually are. Yellow regions might be functionally connected to a seed location to the right hemisphere, while blue and purple regions might be weakly connected or not even connected at all.
Yeah.
So the red and yellow regions have a higher myelin content. Myelin is not something that I actually looked up. Let me go ahead and do that real quick because I am a bad researcher.
While you're looking that up, so it's in the same what we're talking about right now. So the key areas of focus of this part here, like how we were talking about how it, how they seek to see the mechanisms in the brain for focusing on like perception, memory, and decision making, and how all those circuits and networks decode the brain's language. So like the key areas of focus though are sensory processing, cognitive functions, emotion, and behavior. Those are just 3 of the key areas that they monitor. Which is important. What are you laughing at, bitch? What are you laughing at?
This is you.
Well, I'm just making sure we don't have lull moments because somebody didn't do their
I've
job.
already got it pulled up. So the myelin is just the insulation layer. It's the sheath that goes around the nerves. It's made of protein and fatty substances. It's just the myelin.
Fatty substances.
Yeah, dude.
It's got a fat ass on it. I'm game.
So the
Hell yeah,
so-
brother.
you probably said that about that Russian dude in a wheelchair. He's got nothing but ass. He is nothing but ass.
No, he looks like a crunched up twig.
So the red and yellow regions of the brain, the image is not pulled up anymore. They have a higher fat content, so they tend to have more functionality. Then the hold on, colors can indicate different components. A graph, blah 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 blah. Yellow might represent frontoparietal component, while black might represent the singular ocular component. Ocular is just like how you see things and understand things. And so, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. They have mapped it to where they see things ascending, descending, going and coming, and down to your spinal cord to have like feelings and emotions as well.
Yeah.
Which brings us to DARPA as for me, for my recording, my research in general, then led to DARPA almost swiftly, as if like sand flowing down a hill.
Yeah. Like I said, DARPA was involved in this pretty heavily. They had their fingers in it, that's for sure. That's
they
what
had
she
more
said.
than just their fingers in it. They had the whole fucking
Potato.
dick in it, dude.
Hell yeah, dude. But just so I can expand upon the key areas of focus. So the sensory processing. So what all that is entailing when they're talking about sensory processing is uh uh it's visual, auditory, and I hope I say this correctly. Somatosensory systems. I don't know how to say that. Somatosensory systems. And
Somatosensory.
yeah, so what that is so somatosensory systems is a part of it's basically the sensory nervous system, and it is responsible for processing sensory information from the body, including touch, temperature, pain, and proprioception. Proprioception. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, the sense of body position and movement, like
Yeah,
where
what's
you
the
are.
sense of body?
Position.
Yeah, and essential for interacting and responding to the environment. So, like, basically, the components of that are like receptors. So we're talking like mechan. Oh, god damn, I am struggling. Mechanoreceptors.
Man, science is
Mechan-
crazy with these words,
Science
dude.
is crazy, man. So basically, what that mechanoreceptors detect mechanical changes such as pressure, vibration, texture, which is interesting because that plays a role. That's a big thing that really talk about, especially when it since that is for pressure, vibration. Key is vibration, mainly because of we have all our own independent vibrational frequency. Obviously, is our match because we're able to be in this room together and be able to communicate, see each other, all that stuff. We already know, we've talked about before, vibrational frequencies
Yep.
are a huge thing when it comes to syncing with other planes of existence.
It's for my
in that
hippies
realm.
out there, dude. It's your energy flow, brother.
Yeah,
it's just
dude.
how you
It's your
feel your
motherfucking-
energy out there, dude.
It's your chakras,
Yeah, brother. It's just like
Dude,
I feel the energy in the room, and man, I'm feeling good.
I've got like 3
when
extra chakras.
Like when I went to the NRA convention, I felt the energy fucking harsh, bro. Like
yeah, one shell at a time. Anyways, so so it's got that. It's thermoreceptors. God damn, I don't even want to say that word. No, nociceptors, which detect pain from mechanical damage, temperature extremes, or chemical stimuli. And then there's proprioceptors, which provide information about body position, movement, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
and then of course it covers pathways, and then processing centers like your spinal cord and your reflexes, the thalamus, which is a relay station for sensory information in your cerebral cortex. I mean, there's so much more to this, but I just wanted to give the detail on that because that's imperative information to at least hear about, because you can hear that term all day fucking long of the whole, what was it? I don't remember which one. Oh, this sensory. Sorry, which one was I under? I don't even remember.
Somatomy.
Yeah, the somatosensory systems.
If you don't know what it means,
if you don't know what it means, because that's like a fucking mouthful of a word. But then 2, you can hear that word, but you're not making a connection of what the sensory processing is really covering. And I think it's a good thing to understand, going into that detail of that, just because of Human Brain Project in general and what all it's talking about, that it does.
Yeah.
That there's a lot of layers to this, and I noticed that, like, when we cover stuff in the past, like we try to get detailed on some stuff, but then I realized we missed the mark on certain things that we need to really, I think is imperative to talk about, or at least mention, definition wise, so people actually know what the fuck that is.
So that somatosensory system is pretty much how your body moves, like touch, feel, just how you exist and how you activate all your muscles and joints. That's the whole purpose of
And
that.
how you and how you interact, like what your place is in the environment.
Correct. So they mapped your brain, they figured out how it works, and now they want to know and how it talks. So they figured out all of these things: the language of the brain, what the purpose of it is, how everything flows together. What's the next step? What was the ultimate goal here? So let's keep in mind, They've been doing these studies since the year 2000. We're now in the year 2024 of this recording.
Yeah, they claimed it started in 2013, but we know it was happening before that.
So
well
on
before.
the DARPA's website, which the article is 6 Paths to the Non-Surgical Future of Brain-Machine Interfaces. About paragraph, 1, 2, 3 down, it says, over the past 18 years, DARPA has demonstrated increasingly sophisticated neurotechnologies that rely on surgical implemented electrodes. So they have been consistently doing surgery on the brain and putting electrodes on there, right?
Yeah.
To figure out what's happening. So they are cutting people's heads open, putting devices on it to control the brain, to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Their goal was to achieve neural control of prosthetic limbs and restoration of the sense of the touch for people who have lost their limbs. That's what they wanted out of this. They then came to realize that this could be really good for the military.
They did realize, dude, we could use this shit for some other stuff.
They realized that if you wear a cap, once you have, so they will implement chips into your brain in certain locations, and then you can wear it looks like 4 fingers on either side that attach to your head, and it's like a white skull cap almost, and it goes around, and then you can control drones, you can control computers, you can control robotic arms to manipulate things miles and miles away,
which is wild.
So there's a video of it working that they released of a man standing in a hallway and driving and flying a drone down the hallway.
So is that on DARPA's website?
That is on YouTube.
Oh, YouTube it, everybody. just YouTube that shit. Anyways, let's move forward. So because we have a lot more to cover. We're still on the page 1 and we're already almost an hour in.
I know.
Or I don't think we're an hour in, but you know what I mean. We're a good chunk in. So moving on from that. So here are some of the research techniques. And I'm going to kind of skim through these parts, just because we're getting hung up on a lot of nitty gritty type detail.
That's what we're here for. We're here
well,
to be
I know,
educated,
but we want to really cover the whole project. So the research techniques include neuropsychological recording, which is capturing electrical activity of neurons to study how they communicate. The next is optogenetics. So it's using light to control neurons genetically, modified to be light sensitive, allowing precise manipulation of brain circuits. Fucking wild. Dude, we could do independent podcasts on each one of these fucking things.
Absolutely.
There's so much information. I hope I can't stress that enough to anyone listening. Like, there is so much information in this that we could literally break this into several hour independent podcasts.
Yeah, this could be like an 8-hour podcast if we really wanted it to be.
Oh yeah, and that's just covering giving a base idea, like I would say a loaded base idea, but there's still so much more to dive into even outside of that. So moving forward, the next one is computational modeling. So creating mathematical models to stimulate brain activity and predict neural behavior. So it's wild. It's like, in a weird way, how I understand it in my head, it's like creating an algorithm, which is just a mathematical process, right? Creating an algorithm to stimulate the brain activity. That way they can try to study it to then predict how the human brain reacts and behaves on a neural level, which is insane. Like, it's just really weird to think. Everything about this is insane. Like, so I know I'm going to harp on oh, that's wild, that's insane. Well, dude, look what the fuck they're doing.
Can we talk about the pros? Can we talk about the good part about this? I know that we've been going over the semantics.
Oh, we're about to get to the good part.
And the science. Okay, we are. Okay.
Yeah, it was that was actually what was next.
Very good, very good. Well, I know we're talking about the science behind it and how everything works, and the definitions of all these words that we're probably going to be using here in the future as well. But there are good things that came out of this. There are potentially really good disease curing studies and revelations out of this,
Oh yeah, 100%. And one of the positives that came out of this is that from doing this, they're able to address they're able to address neurological diseases. So they basically one of their aims was to translate its findings into clinical applications, particularly for diagnosing and treating neurological diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, epilepsy, and multiple sclerosis. So, and I believe there's a few others.
There are. They're trying. They have found new treatments to treat and get rid of schizophrenia and autism. Is what the goal here is.
Yeah. And then also one of the other ones was like brain cancer, like tumors.
Yes.
And how they're able to form and how those cells become cancerous due to certain activities in the brain that are causing those cancerous cells to then activate and not be dormant.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I don't know if people are aware of this, but from this is one of the things I came across from this research, and this is the positive output, right? They were able, since they were doing these tests and this monitoring, all this research in the Human Brain Project, they were able to identify some of the things that stimulated cancerous cells in the human brain tissue. Mm-hmm. And then due to that, that's why we have some of the advancements, a good chunk of advancements into how to mitigate tumors if they catch it early on. They're the part of one of the biggest reasons why we have some of the treatments we have for tumors in the brain to help either try to make it recede into nothing, like basically reverse time on it, or know how to work with that issue happening to try to either extend the life of the brain of that patient to where they can remove that tumor if that's what's needed to be done, depending on the stage of it. It's really interesting. And for anyone who's listening to this that has a loved one, and I want to say this because I have a family member that died from this, from having a cancerous tumor in their brain. Anyone who's like, hearing about this for the first time, and you have a family member that is going through that, I would highly recommend seeking out, not just because I'm sure that your loved one is seeing some trained professional in the field, right? But if I were you, I would highly recommend seeking out third and fourth party neuroscientists, and not necessarily to be like, hey, I want you to treat my my grandma or my father or my mother or my brother or my sister. Reach out for just a consensus on the situation. Because the doctor, you can get all the information of what's going on with your loved one. Like, if that's happening, you can get that information and then you can send it to that person. Like, these doctors will do it, and they'll do it. A lot of them do it for free. Like, they'll actually look at it. Don't get me wrong. It's not like they're doing it. They're just reading an email, basically, right? But if they see something in there that doesn't seem right, you may have to pay like a copay or something, right? Like, $200, $100, whatever the fuck it is. But they will give you, their feedback on what they're seeing compared to what you provided them.
That's interesting.
So I did that for my brother when he was in a coma.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that's where we found out that the doctors that were saying, oh, there's a chance he's going to pull through, we found out that was a bullshit. The doctor that was doing it was not a neuroscientist. He was not a specialized in brain.
His brain mapping was just saying boobies, boobies, boobies. I'm dying.
They were trying to say that there was a lot of activity still happening in certain areas. But whenever I sent the information over to, I went to 3 other doctors at the time, and I had to do a lot of legwork to get a hold of them. But when I sent it over, that's when I found out. Like, out of those 3 doctors, 2 of them straight up said, like, adamantly, like, there's no brain activity there. What they're seeing is like basically where the electrical spark starts and is trying to. It's basically it's always going to do that, but there's nothing catching it. There's nothing touching it. It's just basically going from the base of the skull.
Yeah, it's sparking, but nothing's
But
catching
the brain
it.
is gone. There's nothing for it to land in, so it just fizzes away immediately. And they're like, no, that there's nothing there. like the brain is non-reactive, and there's no way to start that back up. They're like that how long? And then there, of course, it was the whole how long has he been in this state, stuff like that. And then when I told them it was 2 fucking weeks or roughly 2 weeks, they were like,
no, he's brain dead.
yeah, they were like, no, that's toast. 2 out of 3 said it. The third one basically just said, you know, like, I don't see anything like that it's possible. But, you know, they were like 99% saying that, well, like the other two. The other two were very adamant. Third one was like 1% reserved. So just to throw that out there. Anyways, back to you.
Fuck, why'd you okay.
Well, I had a good example.
That was a hell of a story.
Well, I had a good example.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry.
I feel like it related into it.
I'm sorry that you had to go through that. That's rough. Blessings to your brother and your family for having to deal with that. That's rough.
Cheers, brother.
Or cheers to that, dude. Oh, cheers to that, dude. Yeah, brother.
Yeah. Got the dink on camera again. God, I'm good.
But with all of that said, the concept here is that they can probably nowadays revitalize that brain and bring it back to reality, because DARPA has created things that will subjugate more memories into your brain, subjugate your brain to stimulus to bring it back to vitalization. They can revitalize the brain.
Yeah.
That brings me, because during my research, I got really caught up in head transplants.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
There are over 200 people that have their head frozen cryogenically and their bodies cryogenically frozen.
Walt Disney's one of them.
I'm sure it is.
Unless he got thawed out. I can't remember.
There are several baseball players who have done it, and several engineers who have done it, and like software engineers as well. So my thought immediately went to, why did the engineers back in 2011 2002 is when these baseball players did it. This engineer and a doctor named L. Stevens Coles back in 2014 did it. How did he know to do that? How did these people know to do that? Was it just like a hope and a whim that I should freeze my brain, freeze my head, and maybe they'll be able to bring back to life? Or did they know something that society and others did not?
Do you want to keep doing your thing? I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Let's go on a brief intermission. Okay. And that brings us to the intermission.
Yeah. Sorry. We'll pick right back. 1 second. And we're back. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Had to take a quick potty break.
Did y'all notice that it wasn't me this time?
Yeah, I had to go pee. Dude, I've grown to have a normal bladder now. I was so used to driving a truck all the time, and I could hold it for a long period of time. Mm-hmm. Now it's like I'm out of practice, and now it's like instead of holding it for 6 hours, which is super bad.
It's not good for you.
I now hold it for like an hour and a half, 2 hours at the most, and I'm like, dude, I gotta pee. Like I'm gonna pee myself. Anyways, moving on. I know you were talking about heads being, you know, people putting themselves into like cryostasis, essentially.
Yeah, so for the frozen heads and whatnot, they'll bring them back to cognitive ability. Probably in the next 10 years, we'll start seeing these heads that were frozen brought back to life, like Ted Williams, the baseball player, and the other scientists and doctors, and the other 200 individuals that have done it as well.
But we have decided we're going to keep moving forward away from the frozen head shit.
Yeah.
Just because we're talking about something different. So, so they did this thing. So I know we were talking about before we got onto that, about addressing neurological diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, epilepsy, and like multiple sclerosis and many more. So the disease modeling, so they use animal models and brain simulations to study disease mechanisms. So they use like biomarker discovery. So that is identifying biological markers that can indicate the presence or progression of neurological diseases, aiding in early diagnosis and treatment, which is pretty cool. The next is the therapeutic development. So they developing basically new drugs and interventions based on insights into disease pathways and neural dysfunction. Don't get me wrong. I think that's a good thing, but also it's just like anything else. Big pharma gets a hold of it, and there's a lot of other things that get pushed, you know. So not saying that, you know, anyways, I'm gonna move on from that before I do whatever. So they do have clinical trials. So they collaborate with medical institutions to conduct clinical trials, testing new therapies and interventions derived from all of this research. You know, moving past that, though, there's a lot of there's different types of technological innovations that have happened from all of this. So they pretty much the Human Brain Project drives technological advancements in neuroinformatics, computing, and robotics, fostering innovations that extend beyond neuroscience. So, like the shit you're seeing with what's that university or college or what the fuck ever that does all the like dog robots and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, Boston Dynamics.
Yeah, Boston Dynamics. So Boston Dynamics, some of the like those robotics that you see doing all that wild shit where you have like the dogs and the humanoid like robots moving around and how far they've come. A lot of those advancements, they got information from this research and then applied it over into how they are setting up these robots.
Yeah, yeah.
And how they function and all that, like all the different logic functions that they put into it come from information on this.
So I know that I briefly talked about how they invasively would put microchips and other devices on your brain, like electrodes, to make it work. They have since moved past that, and now they are very minutely invasive or non-invasive at all, to where you are now able to just wear that cap I was talking about that sends electric currents, positrons, and things of that nature to your brain to make it talk.
Yeah.
Via radio waves and signals.
Yeah.
So there were, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different teams and universities that were in charge of this program in Cubed that I keep going back to, because the Human Brain Project, although it has extensive research and a lot of data that they have released about it, it kept bringing me back to the DARPA thing. And I know that people are probably tired of hearing me say DARPA and all that hullabaloo, but the teams that were on there were the Batelli team, the Carnegie Mellon University, John Hopkins University Park team, which is I believe it's an Indian company, and they were using acoustomagnetic devices for wiring the brain. Rice University and the Teledyne team, another university and principal sort of investigators.
Yeah.
Which all these people got together and added their research into DARPA's in the Human Brain Project and the Human Connectome Project to create devices that you can use. And they invented came up with a term called silent talk, that the objective was to explore technologies that enabled nonverbal communication.
Yeah.
Through direct brain-to-brain interaction. So telepathy. So if you are wearing these caps, individuals can talk to each other and interact with each other, and together use devices to manipulate these technologies.
Now, is this something that, when you say they talk to each other, right? Is this something where they can do it without audibly speaking?
Correct.
And we know for a fact this is happening.
Yes.
It's insane.
Yeah. So they have announced it and they have released it, and there are papers and research documents all about this. So you wear it's a white little skull cap. It looks like a skeleton on your head almost, that you would wear, and you can paraplegics, nonverbal individuals in comas can then talk.
Interesting.
Like the potential, they say that the potential effects of it is that people with disabilities are able to communicate, but the underlying con and the threat to this that makes my skeptic brain freak out is the potential danger of this sort of thing, because they could easily take this, and as I mentioned moments ago, the military, they can add this to warfare, to where people who are wearing their helmets in combat can wear this thing underneath their helmet to then talk to their team without having any verbal cues.
I wonder what the dangers of having that type of electrical frequency brain, like long term.
Long term, I wouldn't imagine very much.
The reason why I say that is because, we already know that, like, when having your phone technically harms you in a
Yeah.
weird way. They've already linked having your phone in your pocket all the time leads to they've been studying it now for like 20 something odd years, 30 years of having these phones in your pockets or like near you, um, where it is causing um, pretty much lowering your little swimmers, right? And then also on women, it's actually lowering your egg count,
Mm-hmm.
causing eggs to die um, before anything could ever happen. Be even a potential. So it's like that's why I'm wondering, like, what other things, like long term wise, could be connected into this, having that type of stuff like going through you. Could it lead to cancer? Could it lead to, a litany of other things? I have no idea. I'm just curious about it because we already know that there are certain things already that are in our day to day that potentially are harmful and are harmful depending on how high the exposure is. So I'm just curious. That it just makes me ask that question.
Well, of course,
You know.
as it should, as a skeptic mindset should always be. What are the ramifications? Why are we using this? What is going on? Question everything, right? That's the
Yeah.
idea of
Yeah.
society and life. That's how you grow and become smarter.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be very detrimental. It's no like Agent Orange they're using. They're simply making your electro waves in your brain stronger.
Yeah.
They're just simply magnifying how your brain works.
I got you. But yeah, it's all fascinating. But I want to keep pushing through. So I know we brought up the technological informations about like neuroinformatics, computing, robotics, and then fostering innovations that extend beyond the neuroscience area of the human brain. So I want to explain what neuroinformatics is briefly. So this is just developing platforms for data integration. So it's sharing and analysis, enabling researchers worldwide to collaborate and build on each other's work. So
those are all the teams that I mentioned just a moment ago.
yeah, and then you have like the Human Brain Atlas. So the Human Brain Atlas, we mentioned earlier, it's a digital interactive map of the brain accessible to researchers for various studies. So this is actually also available to the public sphere.
Yes,
you can go and there's a few different places you can go to. Just do a quick Google search of the Human Brain Atlas, and it will come up with many different websites that you can go to and go and interact with it too. And then, but when it comes to the computing part, this is one of the parts that really caught me because I thought it was really cool. So high performance computing, or also for short, it's just HPC. So utilizing HPC to process and analyze vast data sets, supporting complex simulations and accelerating research, which then plays into the whole brain simulation platform, which is creating detailed simulations of brain activity at multiple levels for neurons to whole brain models. And then of course,
I'm looking at them right now.
yeah. And then there's like neuromorphic computing, which is developing computer systems inspired by the brain's architecture, which hence Boston Dynamics, when I was talking about the robotics that they have there. If you go and look at the programming that they've done in these things, they've mimicked the human brain in it.
So you can go to humanbrainproject.eu and look at all of these things. It's all public information, public knowledge, public everything. There's maps of human brains.
Can you send me that link?
Yeah, human brains, primates, rats, and mouse. They have all these things mapped in 3D interactive mapping.
Dang.
Yeah, it's crazy.
No, it is crazy. So I think I had just said neuromorphic computing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know I just mentioned the robotics, but this is the part that has to do with applications in artificial intelligence. The neuromorphic systems improve artificial intelligence applications, making them more adaptive and efficient. So like things like ChatGPT, right? It is a language model at the heart. That language model was basically literally designed off of the human brain language model, and that's literally a fact.
Yeah.
Because everyone talks about, like, where did ChatGPT come from? Blah blah blah. Like, how did they? There's a lot of questions.
Well, Sam Altman
about
talked about it, right? Sam Altman talked about that
Yeah.
It was based off of the human brain.
Yeah, and then they really focused on the information on language and how what happens in the brain with communicating, and hence why ChatGPT is so advanced. It's because they took something like that and they did a really good job with it.
Dude, it's just at its infancy.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, to the public sphere, yes, I guarantee you, they've been working on this a longer time. If the fact that we have access to it and people can use it to do all these wild things, they have something far more.
Oh, but everybody knows that. Everybody that's common
I
knowledge.
know,
If
I
we
know,
have
I
it,
know.
it's more extensive.
But you
somewhere
had said
else.
infancy, and it's like, well, to us it may be from what we have access to, but I guarantee there's something that's not a fucking infant that they already have.
Oh, there's AGI, 100%.
Yeah. Anyways, I like how you use the proper term, AGI, artificial general intelligence, which is basically sentient. Do whatever.
I mean, there have been whistleblowers talking about it already in Google and Microsoft. Sam Altman-Friedman talked about it. I mean, people have. There's a gentleman who we talked about it before, quit his job at Google because there was an AGI, and he's like, "Holy shit, we're fucked." They're not releasing this to the public. They're not destroying it. They're not killing it. They're not turning it off. We're fucked. And then
yeah, Skynet, dude. Yeah. Skynet, 100%. One other thing I want to bring up to keep moving past all this. So other than, obviously I mentioned Boston Dynamics, those robot dogs. The other application of robotics would be healthcare applications. So like designing robots that emulate human cognition and behavior, capable of learning and adapting their environment. So that's part of the brain-inspired robotics. But on the healthcare application, it's using brain-inspired robots for tasks like surgery, rehabilitation, and patient care. We already know that they have different types of robotics for different forms of surgery that is in the public sphere. We already know that. It's there. You can literally Google it, and it will come up with a bunch of different shit that they use, like literally use on people, which is wild. But moving on from that, so the key achievements of this and the milestones. So like one, this kind of like, it's not doing a recap, it's just stating the achievements that were out of this, So you have the development of the brain atlas, you have the advancements in disease modeling, you have innovations in data integration, breakthroughs in neuromorphic computing.
That's crazy.
And then massive contributions to robotics.
It's crazy, dude.
So, but there are challenges, that are in this though. They're like future-wise, like challenges in the future, wherever it's going direction-wise in the future.
Just not enough technology to help out, right? I mean, that's usually what it comes down to. Issues is just like we don't have the power and the technology
or the funding.
Yeah. That's been a huge problem with the HBP is that there's just not enough funding for this.
Yeah. 100%. But so when it comes to future challenges and all that stuff, so you have data the complexity of data. So the complexity of neuroscientific data poses significant challenges. Capturing and integrating detailed information about the brain structure and function requires sophisticated techniques and substantial computational resources, like we were just saying. You have the interdisciplinary collaboration. So doing the collaboration across multiple disciplines, including neuroscience, computer science, medicine, engineering, coordinating these efforts and ensuring effective communication, among different like teams of people, and fields is, it's just it's really crucial that everyone's on the same page in order for it to keep being successful. Which I think they've already achieved that at this point. I mean, we have so many different things. I don't think there's like a cutoff. The only thing I could think it would be a cutoff would be like funding. If someone got snubbed, and they were already on to something really big,
or they've reached the technological limit of its capability in the current state of technology, right?
Yep. The other one is like, like there's even like ethical considerations. So it's basically regarding like data privacy. The implications of advanced brain research is a key priority.
You say that in such a nonchalant way. I think this is a huge issue.
It is a huge issue. But the thing is, we already live it every fucking day. Like, we already live this whole data privacy problem that's happening because we're so interconnected into this massive digital web.
Okay, so hear me out.
Go ahead.
This is just a off branch of MK Ultra. This project is a public funded sort of MK Ultra. to where they have figured out how the brain works, and now they can manipulate it however they want. They can silently put in audio cues in your music, in your movies, and your TV shows to then change your brain frequency to however they want you to think.
Yeah.
And since they know how the brain works exactly through languages of the code, if you will, of the brain, they are just fucking gonna ruin society and just brainwash everybody into a hive mind state.
Yeah. And they've already been doing it though. Because they already took a lot of the things they got from MK Ultra and applied it across many different things since the 70s. We already know that it changed names and it's under
Pandora, Delta, Naomi.
Yeah, and that was the predecessors, and then Delta and Naomi were like all going on at the same time intermittently. But like, we already know, I forgot the name of it, but there's the one project that supposedly is going on right now, which is just a carry on of MK Ultra at the heart of it.
I think it's this.
And I think this is just one of the others.
Yeah.
I think this is just in the public sphere though. The other ones are still off the books.
Yeah.
And it only get talked about. It's all hush hush. There's no paper trail.
And
because they learned their lesson from the last time. That's why they destroyed it, except for a few that slipped through the cracks, which is why we know about it. Which, shout out to that one chick who supposedly is a victim of MK Ultra. I forgot her name.
It was Big Mama something.
I really want her to be on the podcast. And so I'm intentionally saying this now so I can make it short and send it to her in our deal. But shout out to, I'm trying to pull it
her name,
up,
I believe it's Big Mama or something of that nature.
No. It's Cassia Chloe.
Ah, there it is.
Or Chloe. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. I don't know how you pronounce your name. So, but yeah, no, we really want to have you on here and share your story because you made a claim on some things, and I'm not discrediting it. I want to hear what you have to say because it's one, fascinating, intriguing, but also it's horrible if what you say is true. Fucking horrible.
We want to put we want to put your story on a platform and let everybody hear it, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, go ahead.
So, since this sort of HBP Human Brain Project initiative began, it created what I mentioned earlier, the Silent Talk. It's a Silent Talk project. It's not just a thing they did. It's a whole separate off branch of this that they sort of tried to keep under wraps. So we could talk about that later on if you want. But the Silent Talk project is a huge, fucking scary thing.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And there was since we pretty much covered everything we're going to talk about, there just a kind of like a conclusion and a wrap up of this topic. One of the things that I want to briefly just mention is kind of like their long-term goals, right? Like from what we have access to see. Sorry, excuse me. And the burp. Jeez, Evan, come on.
Ben,
Evan,
you gotta stop burping on the podcast. We've been getting
dude, you gotta stop, man. Come on. Child. Man, that's why I love you.
Hey,
so moving, sorry, let's get back to it. So, like the long-term goals in this, I know that we're talking about something that's public information, but we don't really know what goals are. Because there's always two sides to the coin.
I mean, you can just read the information and use your critical thinking skills.
Well, but some people lack that. Some people lack.
Well, that's what we're here for then.
Things. So that's why I'm getting into it. Thank you. So they say overall the long-term goals of this is to enhance, brain models for further integrate, more comprehensive data, and translate its finding to clinical and technological applications. And the project continues to push the boundaries of neuroscience and aiming to unlock the mysteries of the human brain and blah, 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 right? Human health well-being or whatnot. But, us being who we are, when we read about this stuff, and especially, you brought up MK Ultra, and we've done thorough deep dives into MK Ultra. We've done deep dives into Project Pandora. Naomi and Delta, we kind of like...
little cursory.
It was a little hard to deep dive into those. There wasn't a lot of information to go off. It was hard to find something that was concrete. We had some that was concrete, but not everything. But, I think the whole long-term goal thing... with all that being said and the whole MK Ultra thing, no, I believe this is a public way saying we know how to do shit with your brain.
Oh yeah, they're saying we're trying to
Yeah.
improve human health and your well-being. Is their
Yeah.
sort of slide of saying, hey, we're here to help you. I promise, we're here to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
believe us, trust us. You know what psychologists say about people who say trust me? They're usually gonna harm you.
Yeah, that's why I always say, like, the people who if there's ever a situation where, like, I need them to just listen to what I'm saying right now and be like, listen, you just need to go off what I'm saying. I don't say, hey, trust me. I just look at them and go, listen, this is what it is. Do you trust me? I say, do you trust me? If they say no, I go, okay, cool. Then I drop it. I walk away.
Yeah, usually rapists and murderers say, trust me, this is gonna be fine.
Yeah, but that's why I always make sure that's a psychological point you can look at from that perspective of even human interaction of anyone. Like, it could be your neighbor, anything. When they say, listen, trust me, bullshit. Most of the time, now there's outliers.
That's what Donald Trump says. Trust me, we killed him. It was good.
I've talked to a lot of guys.
Beautiful dogs.
Anyways, I don't want to get into Trump right now. I've got a lot of shit I want to say about the court stuff and everything. Yeah. Because, I will say one thing. We're at the end of the episode. If you made it this far, congrats. You get a little tidbit. The whole thing was a fucking sham. I've been following that thing like crazy, and I've listened to the stuff that was released of the jury and everything.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
It was a con. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not some big Trump supporter. I'm not. But the way everything played out and who was all involved, if it was somebody else up there, there would not have been the same verdict. I already know for a fact. Like, you can literally look at every other fucking court proceeding. Now, it's fucked. It's fucked. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, what the fuck else do you guys expect was going to fucking happen? I know there's a lot of conservatives throwing fits right now. Going, Arr! It's like, yeah, you have a right to be, but at the same time, bitch, like, it's not like this is the first conservative that was, getting fucked over. There's plenty of other conservatives who should have gone to fucking jail and didn't. So it's like, bitch, the pendulum swings back and forth. Eventually it's going to swing the other way and fuck over some Democrat, and they're going to get fucking some conviction. It always goes back and forth. It depends on who the puppeteer wants to.
Well, trust me. Trust me.
Trust me. Trust Evan, please. You said trust me. I want to hear it.
Trust me. I think if I'm remembering correctly, I read a document saying, or a paper or a news article or something that said the judge who was the leading judge in the trial told the jurors, no matter what you do, it's going to be a negative guilty. No matter what.
Yeah, and that's actually a proven fact.
Yeah.
No, that was actually
Trust
said.
me.
And the judge is getting money.
Yeah, he is.
Literally gets money from.
I don't know if it's a man or a woman. So.
He gets from literally, and that's a real thing. Like, you can literally look up the paper trail. You can see it happening. It's not even close to not being a fact. It's so hard a fact that you be able to fuck a bunch of people with it. Like,
they weren't even hiding it. They weren't even hiding it.
No. Like, the fact that you're allowed to have also jurors who get money too. What the fuck is happening with the judicial system?
It was crazy.
I already knew it was corrupt before, but this is a whole other level of corruption that's so public in your face that the fact that any of this is allowed is pretty fucked up. Don't get me wrong, I'm not here to say, like, oh, I'm defending Donald Trump. I just believe in right and wrong. And when I see something that's just not a fair shake, it's not a fair fucking shake. And I'm not saying that Trump isn't guilty of something. I'm just saying that was not a fair fucking shake. It was forced, and it's a con. And I'm against anything that's going to inhibit anyone of a fair shake. Plain and simple. Like, it's just across the board. Like, I don't care who it is. It could be my mortal enemy. I'm not going to pin something else on him that's a false accusation or give him, set him up for failure no matter what.
And be ready for articles and news videos and you name it of them saying, we don't want a felon as a president. Felon.
It's already
It's
happening.
It's going to be fucking
right now.
obnoxious.
It's already happening because by the time this episode airs, which is like 2 weeks from now, it's going to be flooded fucking everywhere. Everywhere.
It's going to be obnoxious.
So anyways, let's backtrack real quick. I want to know your honest thoughts on this whole thing. Like, I want to know what your wrap up conclusion with. I know we talked about.
So my
Data stuff.
major takeaway from the Human Brain Project is that it was a vital, important piece of documentation of how the human
You have
brain
to pee
works.
again?
No,
Oh, okay.
I'm just like, highly caffeinated.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Is that it's vitally important to understanding how the human brain works so that we can be able to fix it and repair it for individuals who are having brain problems.
Yeah.
If your myelin is running low on fat, then we understand how to rebuild it through fatty diets, through exercise, to rebuild the myelin on your brain to be able to have better structure and connectivity and communication. And now we understand where the frontal lobe is communicating with the spine. We understand a lot more. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
I also don't like this at all.
I also don't like this at all.
I don't like it because they're blatantly saying, we're going to control you. We're going to completely get rid of your sense of self.
Can I give a clarification real quick?
Of course.
So when you just said the reason you don't like it is because they basically are saying that they can control you. I know we didn't cover certain things that go into really that narrative so heavily, but it's there. So if you guys, anyone listening still, if you were to go and research this yourself, you would come across other information that is a fact that plays into what you're talking about, how they have this ability to literally control you. They have the ability to manipulate your brain and take away basically your freedom of choice, cognitive freedom of what you remember and what you potentially see.
Yeah.
And feel, touch, smell, like the works, because that goes into that whole whatever sensory system, which is, also your smell as well, like your sense of smell.
Your
so it's like
tendons, your joints, your
everything.
muscles. Yeah.
So it's like, I'm just explaining. You make sure to say that because we didn't really like dive into that part because it was, like we said, you could literally do so many fucking huge podcasts, like episodes, out of this. It's not even fucking funny. We could literally do a 10-part thing where each episode's 2 to 3 hours fucking long.
And if y'all want us to deep dive more on this and do more talking about this, we would be happy to.
Without a doubt.
So leave a comment below. Add some discourse in there. Tell me how much you hate me.
Yeah, or send us a message on like TikTok, because we will put up shorts massively out of this episode. So it's like, send a message on TikTok, or send us an email at smartlyuneducated@gmail.com if you want us to.
It's a real email.
Yeah, that's a real fucking email. So please email us at smartlyuneducated@gmail.com.
But again, my major takeaway is that it's good, but mostly bad. Considering the implications of the nonverbal communication, the AI implications, the robot implications, the brain hacking implications. It frightens me that they have learned how our brain is coded and how it talks.
Yeah.
Because our world is surrounded by technology and radio frequencies and waves that are consistently going through our brains, not just through EMFs, but through microwaves and yada 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 yada.
I do have 2 closing thoughts on this topic.
Okay.
And the first thought I'll say is playing off of what you're talking about. So, sorry, I feel like a burp's about to happen. Oh my gosh.
Ben, you gotta stop burping on the podcast. You gotta stop burping on the podcast.
Sorry about that. Anyways, Evan, we're real mature. So to play off what you were saying, what really on the negative side, like where it's like, oh, I don't like this. One of the problems I have is the fact that the research and all this information that they've created from this, that other people have utilized, like ChatGPT used, fucking numerous different forms of AI, all the way to robotics, all this stuff. What really bothers me is that there was nothing implemented in place with this research of how you were going to use the research. Now, don't get me wrong. You can make laws all day. Someone's going to break the law.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. They're going to do it behind closed doors. Hell, look at every fucking government project, damn near every single one. They were doing things when there's laws against it. They're still doing it. They didn't care. It's off the books. So, like, it was going to happen regardless. But since there was no law, even the people who had maybe good intentions, but due to the work they did, someone took that result of that work and implemented it somewhere else in an even more negative fashion.
Mm-hmm.
If there was rules and law, like if there was some type of law put in place of what they were using it for, I think it would have at least dimmed it down a little bit on the bad narrative. I mean, the bad stuff was still going to happen. I mean, it just happens. It's life. It's how the world works. Like, you can't stop bad things. Bad things are going to happen. People are going to do shit you don't want them to do. But I wish there was something that was at least put in place, because there were nothing. There's no laws on this. That was one of the things that I came across, that I noticed, and especially talking with you about it, and then hearing you give your last final thoughts on it. You know, your withdrawals on it. It's like, yeah, there are no laws. There's nothing. There's literally nothing. So it's like people are used it for like ChatGPT, stuff like that, which we already know ChatGPT, that whole OpenAI, the artificial intelligence narrative is so fucking out of control right now. Like, and a good chunk of that, the reason why it's able to be there is due to the work done in this and the things done in the Brain Initiative by DARPA. So it's like, what the fuck? Like, that bothers the fuck out of me.
Me too.
And it doesn't make me like get so angry, but it gets me really frustrated to the point where I have a little bit of anger in there, just a little bit. And it's just like, when are people going to fucking learn to like fucking put up some walls here, like, you know, restrictions? And it's at the point where there's like none.
Yeah.
You know? So that was my thought, just to play off yours. That was my first closing thought. My second one actually has to do, because you brought up serotonin. Did you say serotonin?
No.
Or what was it that you said that had to do with a chemical? I forgot what you said, but it made me think of it. It made me think of dopamine and serotonin. It was something in your closing thoughts talking about like how they can see what the brain's doing, all that stuff. One of the positives out of this was the fact that they can see so many different layers of the brain. They can see what the chemicals, the chemicals in your brain, what they produce and what they do, where they come from. Real big positive in there is, so we did the episode about depression and about how, to work through depression and to overcome it. Well, in this project, they literally got to see, and this is one of the things I forgot to mention because I didn't write it down. It was something I was reading about last night. One of the things they found was the fact that someone who starts daily either exercising or being active, getting out in the sun and moving and designating time for that, while also eating remotely healthy, they were seeing people who were literally depressed and scanning their brain to study it. And they saw people who started those habits. They all of a sudden saw like the natural production of serotonin and dopamine levels normalize in that brain. When then all of a sudden at that same time, while these things are normalizing, their depression is going down heavily. And it's like that plays right into the narrative of like, you don't need a fucking pill for everything.
No, you need a skull cap that tells you what to think.
Yeah, you need a skull cap. It's gonna tell you what to fucking think. Everyone go fuck that dude in the butt.
No, God, no. Wait, the brain's telling me to do it. I must do it.
Oh God, he's about to get Diddy's parties are happening right now. That's what's going on. Oh God, that's what's happening right now, dude. Now we know what happened to the Mr. Diddy.
You said that you weren't gonna get into this.
What, Diddy?
Oh no. Oh, never mind.
That's what happened with Diddy, dude. Yeah, they were putting shit into his brain.
Back in 1994, they were manipulating his brain to want to fuck kids.
No, and other black dudes. Have you seen that recording?
Yeah.
Have you heard it? Where he's like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the N word, but
You're not. You're white. You're not.
Dude, he says it. He says the N word in such a gangster way.
Yeah.
He's just like, yeah, fuck me in the ass.
Yeah.
N word. Like. Yeah. Another black dude was getting pounded by Diddy. This audio.
I mean, there was a security guard that came out and said that he would allow like people like Ja Rule and other rappers to go into a room alone for freaky time, and that he would not allow anybody to come near that door and would have to like block people away. 50 Cent even came out saying that he was invited to Freaky Hour with P. Diddy, and he was like, hell nah, what the fuck is going on?
He's it's like, I ain't gay, bro. I'm good. I like 50 Cent.
Yeah, he's tight.
50 Cent seems like a cool fucking
He's still a
guy.
gangster. I mean, he's still probably somebody who isn't probably the most,
I don't know, man.
like the best person in the world.
I don't know. He seems like a solid dude.
Yeah, I would love to have a beer and smoke a joint with him.
I would totally smoke, like, you know, to have a beer with him and shit. 100%.
Yeah.
I'd be like, so, what's it like to get shot?
9 times.
9 times. Was it really 9 times? And where did 50 Cent come from? Did someone steal the other 50 cents?
$50, maybe.
Did you just have 2 quarters in your pocket when you became a rapper? Is that how you came up with the 50 Cent? You're like, what's happening here? I want to know. Or did you owe 50 cents in library fees? And then you just like came up with the name.
He has half a cent.
It's got half a cent, my man. You know what? We need to make a short out of this and send it to 50 Cent. Be like, dude, we like you.
Mad respect.
Mad respect. Hell yeah. I like the whole take it to the candy shop, lick the lollipop.
Oh, you like that, huh?
That's a good song.
Oh, you like that, huh?
Well, I like
Oh,
the
you
song.
like that, huh?
Oh, you.
you like that, huh?
Listen to me, bro. You have no fucking idea how much I like that shit.
You like the lollipop, huh? You like the lollipop?
I gotta get to the Tootsie Roll Center. That fucking owl told me what to do. He said 1, 2, 3. He's a lying motherfucker. Cause damn, it's still there. I try to bite it. It fucking hurts my teeth. Get stuck right up in them fucking molars.
Hey, that fucking owl, I'm telling you. But right now, right here, right now, I swear to God, that fucking owl, dude. That owl.
We all know that owl's secretly a predator with those kids.
That owl's a Diddy lover.
You want to get diddled?
1, 2, 3 kids, boy.
What? 1, 2, 3 kids. Instead of kids, he's just like, you know, I would say the owl's gonna diddle you, but really he's gonna hootle you.
He's a hoo-hoo.
Hoo-hoo. You're gonna hoot whenever I get in there, motherfucker.
Who's fucking them kids? It's P. Diddy.
Ooh. That went dark. I like it though. It's good. But yeah, 50 Cent, please talk to us. We like you. We do. Like legitimately.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's pretty much the episode.
I think AirPods and things of that nature are the precursor to wearing helmets instead of using your phone. Using small devices on your head to use technology.
We say this while fucking giant headphones on our head. Come on, man. Come on. Come on, man. They've been using headphones for a long time. Why you got to draw that thing? Now I don't even want to wear fucking headphones now. You know what? We're going to go back to a headphone-less podcast.
I mean, I use AirPods.
Oh, so you're part of the fucking problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. What was it?
I'm aware of it.
I had lots of undercover documents that I wasn't supposed to have in my house. I had a lot of them.
I had lots of classified documents in my house.
no,
I had lots of documents. They were beautiful documents.
No, you can't go so narrow with it. You'd be like, really gay. You got to really pull it back to the back of your throat. Oh, sorry. I went wrong with that. It's what was I?
It was really gay in the back of your throat. Damn, babe.
Wrong with that there. My bad, guys. Ted's wife. Dog wife, Ted. Dog wife. That's what Trump said about Ted's wife.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Really gay. Dude, every time I do his voice, I'm slowly getting better at doing his voice. He has to become president so I can constantly mimic him. And once I get the voice down.
Well, it's me, Barack Obama here.
What is Barack?
I'm a big fan of DARPA.
What? Well, that's the worst impersonation I've ever heard.
As we all know, I'm not good at impersonations. I can say
I like your Yoda. Your Yoda's so good. Oh, horrible impersonations you have.
Misa Jar Jar Binks.
What? Jar Jar. Trying to harness that voice.
Misa Jar Jar Binks.
Dude, you were close to the Yoda that time. That's what you should do. You should just like. You should just focus on Jar Jar.
Misa Jar Jar Binks.
What was it? Misa so scared.
There it is.
So scared.
You're good at impressions, dude. Look at this.
That's not right. Oh, what was it?
All right, rapid fire impressions. Gollum.
Adam's pearl.
Yoda.
That's not cool. dark side, you will. Oh, the dark side. Oh, fuck, I'm fucking that up.
One of the dark crystal puppets.
Fuck, I gotta remember how they
The
talk.
the bird ones, the Craxies, I think their name is.
That's me, like Graxy.
Oh, when they're like siphoning off and like drinking the fucking
Yeah.
fluids and shit. Oh fuck, I can't remember how they sound. Oh no.
It does, yes.
They're all the same.
Yes. Yes. That's what they're doing. They're like this. Yes. Yes.
Fucking taking to the thing. They're all like doing this stuff. They're like,
Yes.
that was the worst impression, or maybe it was really good. I don't remember what they sound like.
I just like
100%.
having you say yes, yes, yes over again in a very sexual manner.
Oh, who's another one? Rapid fire. Last 2 minutes. And we're
Arnold
killing them.
Schwarzenegger.
Oh fuck, I'm horrible at doing Schwarzenegger.
Get to the chopper.
No one can resist so sexy smell. Fuck, I can't remember. That was from Batman the Musical. Get through the. Oh, I keep trying to go like in the back of my throat.
Yeah. It's me, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Hello. yeah.
Want to be a farmer? Here's a couple of acres. Hey, you ever see the Last Action Hero?
Yes.
Dude, greatest one-liners are from that movie. I'm telling you right now, like the funniest.
That was the whole
ones.
point of it. That was the
It was a gimmick.
Yeah, it was a
on
joke
making fun of
movie,
it.
yeah.
Dude, it was such a great movie. It's a really good fucking
It
movie
is.
though, because I just love it. Like the beginning of the movie, the kids watching the movie, because obviously it's about going to the theater. If you've ever seen the movie, it's about the kid
Have
getting
you
pulled
ever
into
been
the
to
movie.
the movie theater?
Have you ever been to the movie theater? It's about the kid gets
Yo.
sucked into the film through a magic ticket or whatever, and it's Schwarzenegger and something. And in the opening scene of this movie, this kid loves watching. He's like this badass renegade cop walking up to like a fucking hostage situation, and this cop gets in the way. It's like, no, there's like some chief of police is like, you can't do that, rah, rah, rah. And he's just like, want to be a farmer? Here's a couple of acres. And then he kicks him in the fucking balls. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. Like, yeah, I'm so happy right now.
Ben, I'm telling you, you're a perfect ventriloquist. You put me on camera and you burp into my mouth. It's amazing.
That's because I shoved my arm up your ass and worked your mouth like a puppet. Sorry, that was from one of the other guys. Stole that quote. I want to hear an impression from you.
Uh-oh.
I want you to do an impression of. It's going to be a back and forth, but you're going to do all the voices. I want you to do Yoda, sex talking.
Oh, like last episode.
Yeah, I want you to be Yoda.
I've been working on it.
Yeah, I want you to be Yoda talking dirty to Qui-Gon Jinn.
Okay.
Go. The Jedi dude. So you got to harness your Liam Neeson.
Oh, yeah. You like that, Qui-Gon, don't you? And let me see that saber. Pull it on out for me, say. Qui-Gon.
It's me. I don't want to do that. Yoda, I am not here. I do not consent.
Oh, yes, but you're going to like it anyway.
Dude, I don't know what fucking D-rated fucking Star Wars movie rented. All I know is that should have been the cinematic release. That's all I know. And yeah, holy shit. It's the best.
Like it, you will, yes.
How about this? You be Yoda, I'll be Qui-Gon.
Wait, we're gonna sex talk each other.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is a scenario. We're just gonna we're gonna own it, and we're gonna persevere and push through. You go. Go ahead.
Do you come here often, Qui-Gon?
I have a particular set of skills.
Qui-Gon, is that a saber in your pocket? Are you happy to see me?
I will find you, and I will fuck you.
Oh. Fuck me, you will. Yes, no.
Part of me wanted to just now go into when he's what's that
Can
movie?
we cut this out of the
No,
podcast?
no. What's that movie? What was that movie where Qui-Gon or Liam Neeson he gets like brutally disfigured? It's an old film from like the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. He's like Clayman or something like
Oh,
that.
Elephant Man.
Fuck is that? Well, does he have a huge dick with a big old trunk? Is that what we're talking about?
It's a disfigured man who tries to find love and he just gets beaten all the time.
As he should. I'm just kidding.
It's a really sad movie.
It's a really sad movie. No, I was about to do the scene where he like freaks out because he like gets into the accident that gives him these like, fucks him up, and he's like, "Rah!" But wouldn't make much sense in that. But if you understood the movie and I made it clear, it would make sense. But yeah,
Mr. Yoda.
you should never do that impression again unless we're on air. We need to do a live podcast. So anyone who has connections where we could come and set up a live portrayal of the show, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
We need to arrange something like that, man. We eventually would have had a connection up where you were living before, but we don't have those. And then the connection I had with that brewery, at least I thought it may have been a possibility. I don't think that's really a thing anymore.
I'm sure we can find a local bar around here to go sit at. But
yeah. Anyways, that's the episode. We're done. That's all.
As always, everybody go to all social medias, like our shit, share it to everybody, force your family and friends to watch it and listen to it, play it in the car on repeat. Go to your local Walmart, grab a boombox, and Bluetooth it into the ether.
Yep, and make sure to skip ahead and really play the part where you have family members in the car. Play the part of it where we role play as Yoda and Qui-Gon Jinn. That is like the best part of this whole episode. So we just talked sexual to each other in character voices. Yes, we're a little gay. That's pretty gay. Anyways, yeah.
Send us emails, leave a comment, like all that stuff.
Yep.
See you later.
And if you don't remember the email, it's smartlyandeducated@gmail.com.
It is real. It is real.
It is real.
It is real.
It's real.
All right, later, everybody. Bye. Thank you.
Qui-Gon and Yoda.
Bye-bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.